Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast here on the Daily Signal, nationally syndicated. I'm joined by my co-host Bradley Devlin. I'm also joined by our managing editor Tyler O'Neill, and live from the floor in good old Philadelphia, we've got Rob Bluey. Rob, how are things down there at this moment?
Hey, Tony, we are in the spin room. Right behind me, you can see the various surrogates from both campaigns, the Trump campaign and the Harris campaign, with hordes of journalists gathered around them getting their spin on what is going on. I've spoken to some members of Congress. J.D. Vance was just behind me moments ago. Vivek Ramaswamy is making his rounds. Tim Scott. Senator or Vice President Harris has her own team. Congressman Jason Crow, Ted Lieu, Senator Tammy Duckworth, Senator Chris Murphy, Gavin Newsom is here. So quite a cast of characters from across the political spectrum.
So the first question that I really want to ask is, and I'm sure that the political spin, I guys, being in the spin room, the spin area, I think everyone's of course saying that this was just a masterful victory or whatever. Are you getting a feeling that anyone in the spin area, in the general, like that this was a disappointment? Are you getting that kind of a vibe from any of the journalists on the ground as a letdown, or is the feeling the opposite? Was this the best thing in history?
Well, certainly you talk to the Republicans, they are complaining about the debate moderators. That is a consistent theme that I'm hearing from those surrogates for Trump. They are very disappointed in David Muir and Lindsey Davis and how they conducted this debate tonight. Of course, on the opposite side, the Democrats say, well, they're just, crying about the moderators because Trump couldn't answer Harris's charges. And so you're hearing different variations of it. As we talked about in the pre-show, a lot of the Democrats are saying Trump lied consistently throughout the night, and that is their line of attack on Trump. Vice versa, the Republican surrogates are saying that Harris did a poor job of defending her record under Joe Biden, and the American people have suffered economically because of the policy she's had for the last 3.5 years.
We have to stop with some breaking news here, and I have to say breaking news because while I particularly don't find this newsworthy, given the impact that it didn't have in the last election, less than 5,000 voters actually registered in swing states. Taylor Swift has now officially endorsed Kamala Harris, and her official statement basically it's a pre-written statement. I'll read the last line. I'll get your take on it, Rob. She says, "I've done my research and I've made my choice. Your research is all yours to do, blah, blah, blah." And then she says, "With hope and love, Taylor Swift, childless cat lady." Elise, our resident Swiftie, is joining on. But Rob, let's get your take on this. Do you think the Taylor Swift endorsement is going to win the night?
Joe Biden. I mean, I imagine there are a few Swifties out there who would otherwise have not voted, maybe who decide that that this is going to move them. Hey, I wanted to tell you, we didn't talk earlier, but I was actually out in Bucks County today, knocking on some doors, following along some AFP Action grassroots field operatives. And we came across some people who said that they were so turned off by both candidates that they simply wouldn't vote. And so I do think that you have people like our RFK Jr. or Taylor Swift who, are maybe appealing to some independent, moderate types that could persuade them. But honestly, I think it's on the margins. And will it affect in any of the swing states? Probably not.
Rob, real left-wingers are on the ground with you. Al Jazeera, etc. Probably New Republic is there. I mean, has there been any reaction from the left-wing journalists that aren't corporate media with respect to Kamala Harris's response on the war in Gaza? I mean, it feels like she could have, as I think Tony put it earlier, she could have really lost Michigan there by taking the side of the Israelis so strongly. I mean, she needs Dearborn, Michigan. Maybe they think Michigan's locked up, but I mean, if I'm sitting there and I'm a Democratic base voter, I'm not happy with the way Kamala Harris has handled the Israel issue throughout this campaign, and especially tonight.
Well, Bradley, I did not bump into any of them yet, but I'll be on the lookout for them. I was seated next to a couple of reporters from the Telegraph, but it's a massive room here. A lot of seats went unfilled. Frankly, ABC was touting that they would have over 1,000 journalists in the room. there were many seats that were empty during the actual debate. I'm not sure where
Any
those particular
keffiyehs
reporters
laid
were.
on the chairs in memorial? That's what we're all wondering.
I'll bring you guys back some of the swag if any's left at the end of the night. But no, I think that you had a situation where it's typical of what you would expect, having been in a setting like this before. There were moments during the debate where there was laughter in the room, particularly the exchange on the pets in Springfield, Ohio. A lot of the journalists cackling and laughing alongside Kamala Harris. So, I mean, you could get a sense of where they stood and their own partisan bias against Donald Trump. And certainly that came out more often than people laughing at Kamala Harris.
Right. Yeah. I mean, of course, they think your national sovereignty is a joke. Why wouldn't they? I mean, they've been the #1 drivers of illegal immigration by saying, hey, guess what? We're going to cover the border and nothing bad is going to happen to you, clearly, under this administration if you just come on up. Donald Trump reacting on Truth Social. I thought that was my best debate ever, especially since it was 3-on-1. What did you think of Trump's performance tonight? Was it his best debate performance ever, or was there something left on the table for the former president?
Oh my! I think that my favorite debate with Trump is still the debate against Hillary Clinton, where they were not behind the podiums and they were moving around. Yeah,
were they saying "Islands in the Stream" and Juanita Broderick was in the front row? Great.
that probably still tops it for me. But no, I think overall, I mean, Trump scored some points on this. There were times where Kamala Harris clearly got under his skin, and he reacted maybe more aggressively than I would have advised if I were somebody coaching him. But on the whole, I don't think it was anywhere comparable to the first debate with Joe Biden in the 2020 race, when many people panned Trump's performance and thought that that could have cost him significantly in some of those key areas.
Well, and Rob, I think we've heard that the Kamala team wants another crack at the apple. Want Trump to get on that debate stage again.
Yeah, specifically, I was talking to Vivek Ramaswamy a short time ago, and he said that absolutely the Trump team wants to do more debates, more conversations. They think that focusing on the policy issues, the things that the American people want to hear about, and frankly didn't get enough of from Kamala Harris tonight. A lot of it was just talking points and not new policies or ideas. And so at least in the case of Ramaswamy, yes, more debates are certainly welcome.
Yeah, it seems like we didn't know enough about Kamala Harris, and she didn't accomplish that. We know a lot about Donald Trump. We don't know a lot about Kamala Harris, and she didn't say much interesting or new. Amber Duke, who was on the show earlier with us, she just tweeted out asking for another debate could be a very bad thing for the Kamala Harris campaign to do, because Trump does better in the second debate. If we do get a second debate, Rob, what does Trump need to do to reverse the impression that he lost this debate?
Well, first of all, it would be helpful not to be 3 against 1, as the former president himself has said. But I posted a short time ago. I really think that we need to have a radical departure from giving the legacy media the front row seat and letting them serve as the moderators. Frankly, I would like to see some of the influencers who have made a name for themselves, maybe a Joe Rogan type, be in a situation where they could ask the candidates questions. Obviously, you'd want to find people who were somewhat impartial and not made endorsements in the race. But in terms of what Trump needs to do in a second debate, I think, again, going back, focusing on the successes of his administration. And if you can point to the fact that people were better off financially during his 4 years of the presidency, and give them specific examples about how he accomplished that, I think that that's probably a winning formula.
And with that, I think we'll need to let you go, Rob. We're going to have some closing thoughts in a second. Thanks, by the way, for actually breaking in down there. I know ABC News rejected you at first. It's glad to see you in there, totally crowded. You're like shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow, and people holding signs in the air. Fantastic. Thank you very much for helping us out there, man.
Well, you bet. Congrats on a great show tonight, Tony. Thanks.
Hey, thank you very much. Guys, we'll be back in just a second with some good old-fashioned closer coverage. Thank you very much for tuning in. Stick around for our closing thoughts. We'll kind of have a little final hurrah from the team, and of course, where we're going next. This is the Tony Kinnett Cast, nationally syndicated from the Daily Signal.